All right, so we are going to keep the momentum going here with this conversation on some of these issues. And I really can't think of a better way to do that than by introducing our next panel. I think we're just actually getting connected. Let me just get the quick thumbs up from Brad that we're ready. We're setting the stage here for you folks to welcome Microsoft President Brad Smith in conversation with the former Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence, Susan Gordon. And I cannot think of two better people to spend the next 45 or so minutes with. You know, Mr. Smith has been at the center of the global conversation over SolarWinds for a while now. He is also, of course, a leading global voice on cyber issues in general. And Sue Gordon, I think, really not only understands government after a career in leadership positions across multiple government agencies that include the CIA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and of course, as the Principal Deputy at the Director of National Intelligence. But she's also one of the most innovative, creative thinkers I know. And as soon as we have both of them connected here, I'm going to turn the show over to them. It looks to me, there's Sue. Sue, welcome.
Thanks, Suzanne. Wow, what an interesting set of days.
It's been really fun, I'm telling you. I mean, I thought I knew a lot about cyber, and things have just changed so quickly that it's been a really good opportunity to catch up with a lot of brilliant people. So we're very happy.
Each speaker. I agree with you on the last presentation to have Dave and Rick talking. I felt like we should just sit back and watch those two on their back porch talking about it.
I know, and that's really, we're just getting.
Yesterday was amazing as well.
Well, thank you for that. We're just getting Mr. Smith connected here, and you know, in the meantime, I think it was interesting to have the poll and have so many people who are with us. We've got hundreds of folks who are joining us for this 2-day session. Think that the government really does need to take a more aggressive approach when it comes to cyber issues. It would have been fun to hear Mr. Luber's thoughts on that, but how do you feel about that question?
I would have put a number. Hey, Brad. Great to see you. I think I would have added another option. One is buck up, expect it, prepare yourselves for it, and protect yourself against the risks in addition to protect yourself against the attack. But yeah, I do think there's more the government can do. I can't remember who said it. Maybe Keith Alexander said that we're living in a world where now nation states are attacking small companies. It probably is a good time for the government to get its act together and try and help out a little bit more.
And that's what we're hearing from folks yesterday who are saying, you know, these small companies are caught in the middle of this war. So what do we do? So with that, you know, I'm going to turn it over to the two of you. Mr. Smith, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you with us at the Cipher Brief in a fantastic conversation with Sue Gordon. I'm going to butt out and let the pros take it from here. Over to you guys.
Great. So I'm delighted to be here participating in this Cyber Summit. It is a remarkable moment in history, I believe. From my vantage point, being involved in intelligence for so many years, I think we're at another inflection point in both global security and tethered intelligence capabilities. And if I think about my history, the first point was the Cold War and the threat of global thermonuclear war, and the development of the government capabilities to gain access to the secrets that governments held. And then the second inflection point was the rise of terrorism as a strategic threat and the recognition that individuals were the ones holding the important information and we had to go after those. And now it seems like we've finally come to the realization that the opportunities and threats of this world are all to and through information, that all interests will be affected digitally, and the threat surface is not just in digital control. So really fascinating moment in time. I'm honored to be here with the inimitable Brad Smith, president of Microsoft Corporation. Truth in advertising, I'm not a disinterested observer. I somehow managed to luck out and be both a consultant and advisor to Microsoft, but I think Brad would probably tell you that doesn't mean I don't offer independent opinion whenever it suits my fancy. Brad, I'm just so delighted to get the chance to create the opportunity for your wisdom to issue forth. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Sue. And yes, you always do offer an independent view, and I count on that. I benefit from that, both as an individual and for our company, but for the public at large. So thank you. And let me just, if I could, just build on your opening, because I think it really is, in some ways, a helpful perspective. When you think about the nuclear weapon, it changed the impact of a single bomb and what it could do to the world. When you think about terrorism, it changed the impact of a single individual and what that person could mean for the safety of a community. And then if you think about where we are today, well, now it's about code. And, in some ways, we're thinking and seeing about what a single package of code can do in a disproportionate way. So all three of these things have one thing in common: a single point, a single tip of a spear, so to speak, can have this disproportionate adverse impact on the safety and security of our country. And I think that sort of frames the challenge that we need to be thinking about now.
Yeah, it is remarkable. And for those of us who sit there sometimes and wonder how are we ever going to be able to deal with this, I would offer that when we were doing duck and cover drills when I was a little girl, or when the planes flew in to the Twin Towers, we didn't know what we were going to be able to do about it then. And so I think though the challenges are different, I think we'll be able to solve them. So let's dive in. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the recent cyber attacks, and then we'll go from there and go a little bit bigger and broader. And I hope you'll also take us to places. One of the things that you said was that SolarWinds is the largest and most sophisticated attack that the world had ever seen. So what do we do about it? And in fact, since SolarWinds, we've seen the attack by another nation state actor on Exchange servers. So I'll throw that in. But what do we do about it? And should we be preparing for more, or were those just one-off events?
Well, it's clear we need to prepare for more. We are seeing, more investments by what is today a relatively small number of nation states. Obviously, we're principally talking about Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea in terms of these offensive actions. But I also think that we have entered a potential world where cyber proliferation could potentially really accelerate, especially with the ability of governments to buy cyber tools or cyber weapons. I do think it's not a bad idea to start by asking ourselves, well, what is it, for example, about, say, the recent incident with, say, SolarGate or SolarWinds, that was different. And I would say, two things. One is it was a very broad-based intrusion into the software supply chain. Obviously, what they were successful in doing was planting malware into a software update that went potentially to 38,000 customers around the world. As it turns out, it was downloaded by 18,000 customers or so. And in a world where we're going to see probably 500 million apps created in the next 3 years, that's a lot of potential points of vulnerability. And then there was the second thing as well. From our